It is week 14 and the 49ers finally get their bye. It seems like every time the 49ers win, it's always with an asterisk because another player goes down. In fact, this past week, we find out that the season is officially over for Ben Bartch. Now, luckily for the 49ers, they've been rotating in Spencer Burford, who's now going to get the brunt of the work from here on out. And so he's not going to have a ramp-up period because he's already been rotated in and out, but it is now Spencer Burford's job for the rest of the year. But the 49ers have needed this bye week for a while because now you get your Yetur Gross-Matos back, you get Tatum Bethune back, Christian McCaffrey, who's been your bell cow, now gets some much-needed rest. Ricky Pearsall, who's still been recovering from his knee injury, gets some much-needed rest and additional practice time. Now you can start working in figuring out how you're going to implement Kendrick Bourne now that Pearsall's back, now that Juwan Jennings contributing, now that Demarcus Robinson's there as well. You need to figure out what are ways we can get healthy, but also prep for a run. The 49ers over the past few weeks have shown that their defense is showing up again. In fact, everybody thought that the 49ers defense was going to be the Achilles heel going into the latter half of the season. When in fact, over the past few weeks, the 49ers defense has been locked down. Now, I know they played the Browns and the Panthers and the Cardinals the past 3 weeks, but the reality is they're all NFL teams, and the 49ers defense took advantage. They're getting their rookies much needed experience. In fact, you even have Clelin Ferrell, who had 2 sacks this past week. Keon White had a sack. And so I think Robert Saleh is getting amazing production out of what he has to work with, and now you get some more depth back on the defensive line. Let's face it, that's probably one of the weakest areas is the defensive line, because if you can't stop the run, if you can't generate any natural pressure with 4 guys, you're going to have some problems in the back end. And that's usually been Robert Saleh's motto is, let's see what pressure we can get with 4 and play coverage in the back. And when he's been able to get pressure, that's how you can kind of disguise coverages. That's how you can jump routes, get those turnovers. And so I think the 49ers are poised for a big run. And let's be honest, they are actually 1 game out of the 1 seed. And so at the end of this week, they're going to be up to the 6th seed just because of how matchups are. But let's look at the remaining schedule. You have the Titans, which should be a winnable game. The Colts should be a winnable game. Yes, it's in Indianapolis, but it's going to be a Monday night game, so they're going to have that full rest even though it's in Indianapolis. But also, it's Daniel Jones. So if you stop Jonathan Taylor, you have a chance. Then you have Bears at home, the 49ers. That's going to be a tight game because that's going to have huge playoff seeding implications, but I think the 49ers can get that one. And then the Seahawks, that can go either way. It is a divisional game, but the 49ers should win that. So all the 4 games are winnable games, and if they win out, I could see the 49ers getting the number 1 seed and honestly being very competitive to be the NFC standout in the Super Bowl.